Major League Baseball has officially taken over the San Diego Padres TV production as its partner RSN Regional Sports Network, Bally Sports / Diamond Sports Group / Sinclair Broadcast Group / Sinclair Inc. failed to make its contractual payments. It's a groundbreaking moment, as stated by Padres CEO Eric Grupner. And it's one step closer to Commissioner Rob Manfred's ultimate vision for fans to go on MLB.tv and buy whatever the heck they want. So I thought now would be a perfect time to revisit what got us into this mess in the first place. It's January 19th in the year 2000. What a Girl Wants is the #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100. The dot-com business model is booming, and freelance baseball player Michael Jordan becomes part-time owner of the Washington Wizards. It's also a momentous day in MLB history as the 30 team owners vote to create BAM, Major League Baseball Advanced Media, to consolidate the future of baseball in the digital age.
I know if the owners, they voted for something, they'd have less ability to bitch and whine to me later on about what happened. And so BAM was created.
And this isn't exclusive to just streaming video. BAM would have a hand in pretty much anything that baseball did with the internet, including the MLB.com website, online ticketing, and eventually replay review and the original StatCast tracking system. And BAM is pretty much the reason that streaming services like Disney Plus exist today. In 2001, with the emergence of Japanese superstar Ichiro Suzuki, BAM experiments with streaming live audio of Mariners games to mediocre results. In 2002, led by the life of the party, Bob Bowman, BAM gets a $10 million loan from partner/hostage Ticketmaster to fund its next big expenditure, live video streaming. And on August 26th, history is made as MLB streams its first ever baseball game on the internet, a 10-3 Yankee victory over the Texas Rangers. Only 30,000 people watch, and it's streamed at a lowly 280 kilobits per second, but clearly the potential is there. And in September of 2002, MLB offers a special 9-game pennant race package. And then for $19.95, a postseason package to watch the California Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles defeat the Giants in the World Series. In 2003, MLB TV offers a full season package for just $79.95, immediately attracting over 100,000 new subscribers. In a few short years, after a collective investment of just under $80 million from all 30 team owners, MLB clubs are salivating over their ROI, reaching a reported $7 to $8 million in dividends per team in 2014. Considering that the clubs originally planned to invest $1 million each over a 4-year span, or $120 million in total, Old Al from Milwaukee looks like a genius right about now. I mean, just think about it. You're at the forefront of a seismic shift in the media landscape. Think of all the new sponsorships that can come from this, not to mention revenue sales from selling subscriptions alone. This could finally be the one thing to propel the MLB over the NFL and NBA in terms of marketing. There's just one teensy tiny problem: blackouts. Since its inception, MLB blackouts have been the bane of the local baseball fans' existence. In fact, MLB went as far as to file a patent in late 2004 to protect its proprietary geo-blocking technology, which allows MLB to locate where you're watching the games from.
Visit MLB.tv for details. Every out-of-market MLB game. So if you're in Milwaukee, you just can't get the Brewer game.
Right.
Because to MLB's credit, they were a pioneer in this regard as well. MLB understood early on that the cable TV model in the United States was just not sustainable. And if they were going to get their lucrative, albeit short-term profits from their broadcast partners, MLB needed a bargaining chip. Enter streaming rights. Here's why they're so valuable. Number 1. Some clubs trade their exclusive streaming rights in exchange for a higher broadcast rights fee from the sports networks, basically just negotiating more guaranteed money, as explained by former Miami Marlins president David Sampson.
Desperate teams, like I was with the Marlins, who was looking for a huge amount of money per year. I would be more willing and was more willing to give the streaming rights to the network as part of the negotiation.
Number 2. With the popularity of cutting the cord over the last decade or so, MLB uses blackouts as a way to get the local fan to keep his or her cable subscription. And these sports networks use exclusive broadcast rights to negotiate higher prices with local cable companies, who raise your TV bill and now streaming bills, plural, while the networks, cable companies, and MLB laugh their way to the bank. And who pays? Well, the consumer, of course. And it's not just your average sports fan who foots the bill. It's everybody who subscribes to these cable companies, whether or not you like baseball or even sports at all. On June 27th, 2018, our hardworking friends in the US government announced that Disney has to sell 22 regional sports networks as a condition of its merger with 21st Century Fox. Disney wants $20 billion for its RSNs, but has less bidders than it anticipates. Major League Baseball is actually one of these bidders. MLB partners with Liberty Media, the owner of the Atlanta Braves, because, as Manfred puts it, they feel they are the best positioned to manage through what they realized was a coming period of change. MLB bids $9.6 billion, with about a third of that in leverage. But Sinclair outbids them, and in August of 2019 buys the RSNs from Disney for $10.6 billion, with a staggering $8.5 billion of that in leverage. Asked recently about Sinclair's purchase, Manfred says the RSNs were worth nowhere near that. And of course, they weren't. In a move that anyone with half a brain saw coming, Sinclair files for bankruptcy less than 4 years later. And now MLB is set to lose over $1 billion in broadcast fees unless the teams hand over their streaming rights to Sinclair, where it will then magically come up with the money to pay the clubs their contractual fees. That's right, Bally/Diamond/Sinclair is nothing but one big crybaby begging the courts to reduce the fees that they willingly agree to pay because they don't believe they are fair market value anymore. And on top of that, they want the rights to stream games on their direct-to-consumer Bally Sports Plus app, where it currently streams for just 5 teams. Man, don't you just love it when big companies want to bail out for their poor investments?
9.5 trillion now.
Because that's what this really is all about, the streaming rights. And only a handful of MLB teams under their current contracts can exercise those streaming rights in market. And regarding the Padres, MLB claims that streaming games in market, as well as negotiating with other cable companies in the region, will allow them to reach 3.264 million homes in the San Diego market, a 189% increase of Bally's reach. And it's a no-brainer, really. If you're serious about growing the game, it makes sense to sell your product directly to your local fan base. Now, while the clubs will certainly lose money in the short term, this whole Bally situation is almost a blessing in disguise. Since baseball is the first sport truly affected by the Bally fallout, because it's the only one being broadcast by RSNs right now, MLB has the chance to do what it did 20 years ago, and that's become an innovator and rethink the model. Because guess what, folks? The Padres are only the first. Only the first. There are 14 total teams who rely on Bally Sports alone. And rely is the appropriate word here, as it's estimated that local TV deals make up about 22% of total revenues per club per season. Could MLB teams recoup most, maybe even all of that money? Sure, it's certainly possible. In a recent lawsuit filed by MLB and the Twins, Guardians, Diamondbacks, and Rangers against Diamond, a judge ruled that Diamond must pay the teams in full or relinquish their broadcast rights. But will they? I wouldn't bet on it. And then you got Warner Brothers Discovery, which owns AT&T Sportsnet, saying they want to get out of the RSN business entirely, which affects the Astros, Pirates, Rockies, and Mariners. And of course, who can forget the exclusive contracts with Apple TV Plus and Peacock? While it's a solid attempt to reach millennials and Gen Zs who already pay for these streaming services, it ignores the true baseball fans who already shell out $150 a year for MLB.TV, local blackouts included. Of course, I'm sure MLB would prefer to have fans watch in-market games on their app instead of having to navigate the high seas. So maybe this whole Bally situation could allow MLB to wipe the board clean. And instead of getting more of this...
I don't think Ohtani can be number one. I don't think Ohtani can be number one because he's a pitcher.
Or this?
I don't have them making the playoffs this year, the Dodgers.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't love their
You
lineup.
say outrageous. Is this just an outrageous Steve thing?
We'd simply get more baseball games on a baseball platform. Because it's time, folks. It's time for MLB to bring their teams under one in-house, vertically integrated production. It's time for MLB Plus.